It's been a very steady rain since halftime. We're just underway third quarter. Cleveland with a 17-point lead. Look at these possessions in the first half. And it's gone from bad to worse for Cincinnati offensively. Short of Corey Dillon getting his yards, and he's been able to do that. They've been successful at very little. Orpheus Roy made the stop.
Well, Cleveland's now going to really use their defense to really swarm and run and chase like they do exceptionally well. Corey Dillon, that's unfortunate for him.
Out of the I formation with Lorenzo Neal, the up back. Now, one thing about it, when you're down 17 and it's early in the third, there's no sense in scrapping the game plan, whatever that may be. But I think Peter Warrick's conversation with us the other day tells it all. And I actually talked with Bob Rutkowski, the offensive coordinator, who has ties to Miami as well at the collegiate level. And they did want to take shots downfield. But it just seems that the communication is so poor on route running between the receivers and Farrat, they get nothing out of it. 3rd and 2. Over the middle and caught. There's Dillon. I think that's where he's really underrated, his ability to sneak out of the backfield and make something happen in the passing game.
He's a strong back. He's got very stable hands, sure hands. And when he's your 3rd or 4th option, sometimes you got to question, maybe they need to work him in. A little slow release here by Dillon. A tremendous job of sifting through, sitting down, a 3rd or 4th option for the quarterback, but he makes positive yardage. You can see the eyes of Dillon on and Farrat too, looking off, coming back to his receiver, in this case the running back, trying to get something happening on offense.
On first down, Farrat's pass for the corner, caught by Chad Johnson. Out of bounds at the 45 of Cleveland. Well, if they didn't need a score at the end of the half, they desperately need something on the opening drive of the second half.
Soft coverage, distance between the receiver. Chad does a great job of turning his shoulders, using the sideline as his friend, putting his body between the ball. Tremendous, Johnson, tremendous effort on the out route.
Rudy Johnson just into the game. That play was telegraphed, and the Browns were all over it. Earl Holmes, middle linebacker, first to meet him. You know, early in the week, Jameer Miller had some rather unkind words for Cleveland defensively after giving up 100+ yards to Priest Holmes in Kansas City. I mean, after all, this was the number 4 rated defense in the National Football League last year. When you think of it, some of that criticism from Miller
on the offense, 6 men in the line of scrimmage
has to be considered.
That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Some of that has to be considered a little unfair. I mean, Jameer Miller is a player that...
Correction.
Oh.
2nd down.
Okay, thank you. But you got to believe that they've lost some of their flexibility without Miller, and now it's a bit more difficult for this defense when they have to make the usual changes in nickel and dime packages as they do. Corey Dillon ahead to about the 42, 43-yard line.
Well, and I think that's more the reason why a guy that's such an impact player defensively for them can't make the comments that he did. Critical. If you're not in the lineup and able to affect change, you don't need to, you know, be discouraging to your teammates. And I don't think Butch Davis was at all pleased about the comments either.
We asked Butch Davis about it, and he said, I'd rather not comment with a square jaw. Much like the square jaw you just witnessed. Dillon 109 total yards, 81 of them on the ground. 3rd down. And again, a slip by Westbrook. He's on the deck as the pass, a timing pattern.
With the exception of one play, Anthony Henry has had his number all night long. And again, I know the field is getting a little wet right now, but Anthony Henry has been working the big guy over.
Nick Harrison to punt it away with Dennis Northcutt back at his 10-yard line awaiting. High pooch punt. Fair catch called for. And Cincinnati again will have Cleveland at bay back at the 2-yard line. Case Faharn down to down it after a 41-yard and very effective boot.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nextel. Next time, how business gets done. Warner Brothers' new motion picture Ballistic X vs. Sever in theaters soon. And by Guinness Draft Stout, enjoyed responsibly the world over.
$17 to nothing our score here in Cleveland. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, happy to be with you. We're pulling a little double duty this weekend with the NFL on CBS. Kelly Holcomb with a 1st and 10 at the 2-yard line. William Green negotiates to the 5. Brian Simmons the first to get to him. The rain has stopped for now, but it's been steady for about 30 to 45 minutes. It may be a very light rain, negligible at best right now. Kevin Casefaharn getting a little time on the bike.
That's Houshmandzadeh.
Was that Houshmandzadeh? It was. I thought it was 34 rather than 84. I beg your pardon. Green with an opening beyond the 10 to the 13-yard line. Well, TJ Houshmandzadeh better stay on the bike and get out there, because right now the rest of the receiving corps not getting the job done.
See, Green needs to take an attitude. You know, he doesn't need to get stuck with the label of being what I call a situational running back. And I'm not talking about down and distant. The way he ran out of that end zone, knowing that he was backed up, he got out in a hurry. Did it on the second carry as well. He needs to imagine he's in the middle of the field in the same situation. Run with the same type of abandon.
Green again. That's more of what you want to see, isn't it?
Absolutely. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Any coach, even the most creative coach, a coach that likes to put in some trickeration on the plays, likes to see a guy get north and south, Tim.
See the rushing yards. Cincinnati with 107.
High formation, straight up the pipe. Nothing funny but zone blocking there. Hat on hat, drive blocking, getting plus yardage.
We may see a lot of that from Cleveland now the rest of the way. Good cutout by White, who's just into the game, and he tried to cut back. Ran right into Jeff Burris, number 21. The circuitous route to the National Football League for Jamel White, free agent trying to make it out of South Dakota. He was actually drafted to play baseball. That didn't work. Didn't particularly like the curveball, but did manage to get to South Dakota, where he did play a little bit. Still carries the jersey with him, the undergarments too. Has a few T-shirts. South Dakota, the Roadrunners.
He did steer clear of those specific numbers on his batting average, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Nothing doing for William Green this time. Juwan Armour comes up to pop him.
But the thing about it was how good an athlete he is. They drafted him. He had never played baseball before. He was a project. He played a little bit, but not to the degree at the position that they had him eyed for. They just saw enough potential in him, an upside, that they took the risk.
As a unique player, flew in way under the radar and has now developed. There are a lot of times stories of guys who were free agents who made their way into the league and become very effective. He wants to be a starter over William Green, guaranteed, regardless of what they're paying Green. Gardocki to punt it away. Beautiful punt. Houshmandzadeh at the 30. He appears to have had a bit of a groin pull there. Ahead only to the 31-yard line, a 48-yard boot. Got up with that one gingerly. 17-0 Browns. 17-0 Browns. Monday, September 23rd. Mark it down on CBS. The network that brought you CSI takes you to a whole new world of crime scene investigation. CSI Miami premieres Monday, September 23rd on CBS. Farrar opening this series, and he decides to tuck it. And he's out beyond the 40, near a first down, past the 41. The market just shy of the 42. Well, we've talked about it. 5 years, 5 different quarterbacks in Cincinnati. Now, some would argue, even Gus Frerotte told us, in the day of free agency, this could happen to a lot of places. But because the Bengals are who they are, people want to talk about it. but the record speaks for itself.
Well, that first number is always the smaller number, and the second number is the bigger number.
Lorenzo Neal ahead to the 45 for the first down. When you think about it, too, these are quarterbacks that have been successful elsewhere.
See those second numbers there? They're all bigger than the first number. That's not good.
But they've all been successful
76 on the offense, reporting to an eligible position.
somewhere
Number
else.
76 offense.
Neil O'Donnell came in from Pittsburgh. You were thinking, hey, something good's going to happen here. And he's been pretty successful as a backup to the Titans. Levi Jones is back in the game as a tackle eligible. Dillon bounces off a couple of tacklers and gets to midfield.
Might you be implying that there's an organizational culpability there?
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. And you can have all the first and second round draft picks you want. There's no doubt that he inherited a very difficult situation. Did Dick LeBeau. But you can sprinkle your team with first and second rounders in your offensive line and at quarterback all you want. But if they don't operate as a team, you're still going to have trouble. Here's Dillon. About the 47-yard line. And you know this because having played with the 49ers and the Oilers at the time, Carmen policy and the way he operates the Browns organization is such that the talent you have isn't the only means by which you get the job or the nod as a draft pick. You must have a personality profile that fits within the organization itself.
That's what we did in Carmen policy along with Dr. Harry Edwards. That's what they did. They profiled players. They made sure you were 49er material.
Third down and 2. Farrat's pass is caught at the 40-yard line. Another first down for the Bengals. Ron Dugan's his first catch. Another one of the young and talented high picks that has been unable to mesh regardless with the quarterback.
Reporting to an eligible position. 76 offense.
And Tim, you make a great point about there not being continuity with the receivers. Westbrook, for example, comes to mind. Here's a guy that's got a surly personality, not a great attitude, yet he's a great talent. They've got him on their roster.
Dillon gets it down to about the 35-yard line. Earl Holmes makes the tackle. I'll tell you this about Westbrook. Little verbiage going on there between Dillon and one of the Browns defenders. I believe he was barking with Anthony Henry. Second down and 5 coming up. But Westbrook has clearly been the receiver that when in the game Farrat has been trying to work and work hard. Swing it out to Rudy Johnson. He's down at the 35-yard line. No gain. This Cleveland defense is looking a lot more like the defense we saw a year ago as opposed to what Foge Fazio's club gave up to Kansas City. He admitted they really concentrated far too much on Tony Gonzalez last week, and that allowed the running game and Priest Holmes to get a lot more than perhaps it should have. No such tight end on the Cincinnati Bengals roster to worry about. Quick pitch to Dillon. He's got room. And the stiff arm at the 25-yard line. Taken out at the 20. And Griffith and he still going at it.
It's probably going to be a holding penalty anytime you rip one like that. And I know that Cleveland plays a lot of people up at the line, and that's where the opportunity was for Cincinnati coming in. So many people at the line of scrimmage. Once you break that first tier, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity to get plus yardage after that point. But clearly that one came open in a hurry. It's probably a holding penalty.
Robert Griffith, 24, and Dillon continue their debate. And it's carried through now in 2 or 3 plays.
72 offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay third down.
Matt O'Dwyer, the guilty party for the Bengals.
Well, Corey Dillon's eyes get wide open and he sees, and there's a reason why that hole is big like that. The nice stiff arm to the face. Corey Dillon is such a strong athlete. We know about his pass catching ability and obviously his running ability. But he's not afraid to tell you he's pretty good too either.
We've come to the end of the third quarter. with the score 17-0 Cleveland. We'll be back to Cleveland Browns Stadium after these messages and a word from your local stations. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Cleveland pitching a shutout again today. It would be 7 quarters of shutout football. The Browns defense against Cincinnati. The last 7 quarters they played. Dillon on a 3rd and 10 gets the swing pattern and only ahead for a couple of yards. Yet another example of not going downfield at all in a down and distance situation, which would indicate one needs to do just that. You see that 7 straight scoreless quarters. They lost here 18-0 back on November 25th of a year ago.
They're trying to get some stuff happening downfield, but Anthony Henry feels so quickly from his cover corner position, it just nullified it.
Houshmandzadeh now up to the top of your screen. On 4th down. There's the out pattern, and Houshmandzadeh has it. He runs excellent routes. He clearly has a better timing situation at this stage with Gus Frerotte than Westbrook and some of the other receivers.
But I got one criticism. He's still coming lazy out of his break. Frerotte does a great job keeping his head and eyes forward, but comes back to the backside. Houshmandzadeh does a great job of cradling it in. But watch him out of the break here as he turns head, shoulders. He just kind of see him. He almost hesitated there for a moment. On a timing route, did he even catch it? That's a question, whether or not he even caught it. But one thing that certainly would have not made it a question, if he would have made a speed cut out of that break, he would have been where he was supposed to be, and it would have been a question.
Well, Butch Davis thinks enough that he's going to challenge it.
Cleveland is challenging the ruling on the field, and it was a completion at the sideline. We'll review the play.
You get the feeling that the Browns would like to keep this scoreless streak alive against Cincinnati.
Well, Butch is wise to look at this play again, and here's the reason why, Tim. Number one, if you see it in slow motion, you can't really appreciate the fact that Houshmandzadeh didn't really come out of his break. That ball touches the grass there. Clearly, it touches the grass, and he traps it. You'll see it, right? Chest, and then the grass right underneath it. He finally gets control of it in his lower stomach, but I don't think he clearly had control of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Butch was very wise to challenge it, and I do see an overrule. That would make us 1 for 2. Just want to bat 500, baby. Actually, it will be 2 for 2 because the other one we thought it had not been caught, and in fact,
clear trap
was ruled. So we'd be batting 1,000 here.
That's right. Clear trap there. It would be a gift for Cincinnati if they came away with a completion there.
Well, at this stage, given what's happened to them, they probably feel that they're worthy of a gift. It should be reversed. Remember, this was a 4th down play, so unlike a 3rd and 8, this was 4th and 8. There would be a change of possession if the challenge is accepted and there is an overrule on the call that was made.
Butch is going to work this one for everything it's worth, isn't it? Here's a call.
After reviewing the play, it's been determined the pass actually hit the ground. Although it's an incomplete pass, the ball will go over and down. First down. Cleveland will not be charged with timeout. First down, Cleveland.
Coach Davis will take that one. Hey, fellas, good coverage. Guess what? If I don't challenge it, we don't get the ball back.
I'm a good coach, aren't I?
There you see it. And you're right, Spencer. It's very clear. Goes through, and the nose of the football was on the ground, not possessed by T.J. Houshmandzadeh. The Browns will have the ball 1st and 10 at their 38-yard line. There you see the numbers, and Holcomb leading the way. The only problem that Cleveland may have at the end of this day is wide speculation in the Cleveland and surrounding area as to who will control this football team when Tim Couch is at 100%. Holcomb forced to call a timeout. We'll be back. The Browns lead here in the fourth.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. It's in the NFL. Is it in you? And by High Endurance Clear Gel from Old Spice.
The big dog. He is the maestro, isn't he? Pulling all the strings at Cleveland Brown Stadium.
Bon appetit.
First and 10 for the Browns with a 17-point cushion. And they can just eat up some clock, shorten the game in a very big way here. Kelly Holcomb, comfortable in his role out of Middle Tennessee State. 6th year. This time he's back at the 30-yard line as Tony Williams comes in to get him. First sack recorded of the day by the Bengals. Well, next week you and I will be back at the studio, Spencer. We've got big-time college football coming up.
Tim, you look like you've lost a few lbs since that time. Right?
Yeah, I believe they shot that last year. I must tell you, they could have gotten a better angle on you. Yeah, Florida and Tennessee's not bad either.
Pretty good squad.
Pretty good matchup. Very important game. And, of course, Gerard Warren, a Florida guy, talked about the Florida connection here with Butch Davis, ex of Miami. Certainly Steve Spurrier doing the same with the Washington Redskins. Jamel White forges ahead to the 39-yard line. Going back to that Tennessee-Florida matchup, I think many in the country will be using that game as a gauge to see how Tennessee may stack up with Miami when they meet in November.
Well, it sure is right now in the landscape of college football, a David and Goliath situation. It's Miami and everybody else nipping at their heels, trying to get there. I don't see anybody close right now. Maybe Tennessee has a shot.
Butch Davis, of course, told us a year ago we were doing the Jacksonville game that he felt that he left as many as 40-plus players in different age categories that would play on Sundays for Larry Coker.
21 of them are NFL rosters as we speak.
That's right. 3rd down and 9. And markers come down again.
Ball starts. 77.
Ross Verba.
5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Verba, the guilty party, the left tackle, moving prematurely.
We know an offensive lineman occasionally is going to get a little bit antsy, and Verba does right there. It's tough out there on an island. You know, they talk about the left tackle position. You are on an island. When you get a big 300-plus pound guy trying to operate in space, they get a little sensitive sometimes.
3rd down and 14. Andre Davis back in the game.
Missed assignment.
And they come the other way to Jamel White. That play had no chance of developing. Excellent coverage on it by Adrian Ross. And we got a marker down. No, I beg your pardon. Jamel White twisted his ankle. I beg your pardon. Thought for a moment we had a late flag. But he's running it off. And Gardocki will punt it away. Low punt again. Manzana backs off. There have been some low trajectory punts today, Spencer, that could have been run back.
Those are the ones that you don't want them touched, though, because the ball is oblong. It can do some weird things.
Men's PSI.
3 dead, Sam.
Let the detectives from Van Nuys Division know. Robbery, homicides, taking it.
They want to open to the Southwest U.S.
Go, go.
Put your hands on your head.
I don't want to die. Really? Who does?
Robbery Homicide Division premieres CBS Friday, September 27th.
17-0 our score. Log on to NFL.com and get up to the minute scores and stats. Plus follow all your favorite players all day long at NFL.com or on America Online. Enter keyword NFL.com. 1st and 10 for the Bengals Rod and company really need to get something going, and it's picked off. Grant Boyer has it at the 30. And the miserable day for Farrat continues. Boyer, one of those criticized by Jameer Miller earlier in the week for communication problems. Well, he was right where he needed to be there.
Premieres Monday
With several teams, this was a very nice play, an athletic move to hold on to the ball.
He's just dropping back in coverage and makes a nice move, tremendous hands. You don't expect a linebacker that's a plugger like he is to be able to have that athleticism to make that play, but a tremendous job.
First down and 10 now, just inside the 30-yard line for Cleveland. Nothing doing for William Green up the middle there, continuing to try to get Green lathered up. Tony Williams made the stop. To score the way it is, and the abysmal Bengals offense, one would think even with this opportunity, Cleveland would try to keep it on the ground. He has 18 carries for 40 yards. So Butch is trying to make a point of getting William Green into the flow of the game, becoming a bigger factor as the season goes on.
They're doing something a little different with backs now split. They're going to get pressure from Cincy.
Mel White cuts back and is down at the 23-yard line. We talked a little earlier, Spencer, about Jamel and the three players he watched in the offseason to improve on his game as requested by Bruce Arians: Falk, Garner, and Priest Holmes.
Well, one of the guys that I think he likes the most and appreciates is Falk. He's a guy that's got tremendous talent, but he looks effortless when he runs. That's because he's patient. That's the one quality that he took away in his time in analyzing that great back.
Third down and 4. 4 wide receivers set for Cleveland. Holcomb was tipped by Hawkins, thrown a bit behind Andre Davis.
Well, he had a line on it, and the thing, had it not been tipped, it would have been right there on line with Davis. Tremendous. Here we see that same formation, the little teacup, the innermost receiver throws it on the back shoulder. Davis would have had an opportunity to make that play had it not been tipped. Yep. He saw the opportunity.
Dawson, who hit 4 last week and just hit his longest of his career earlier in this game of 52 yards. A dry one from 41 yards away. Splits the uprights. He has 21 in a row. 2 short of Stover's record if this holds up. We do have a marker down. It'll go against Cleveland, so he'll have to try it again. So wipe that one off the board.
Formation, 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Number 73 was not on the line. 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
You know, at our NFL seminar earlier in the year, we were told about a point of emphasis, making sure you have enough on the line, especially in special teams. I've seen that called a number of times this year.
And when you get guys peeling back, they need to flush with the line of scrimmage. When you have that, they're not on the line of scrimmage. That's what they got stuck with.
So we'll make it now a 46-yard or 45-yard attempt. True blue for the Browns. The lead is up to 20 for Butch Davis's guys. We'll be back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service. Unisys. Imagine it. Done. And by the all-new Accord from Honda. It's more Accord than ever.
Spencer, that's ZZ Top after too many Celestone shots.
Well, when that guy steps on the scale, it says to be continued. Jiminy.
Having a great time in the pound, though, baby. And why not? Dawson will kick it away. Coming down to Rudy Johnson at the 6-yard line. Out to the 19-yard line. Bengals will start from there. You begin to wonder when will we see John Kitna. Now, you got to believe at some point those guys have got to be humming, "She's Got Legs." 20-0, the Browns with the lead over Cincinnati. Combination of consistency from Kelly Holcomb in this short passing offense of Bruce Arians, and the Bengals just with an horrific performance offensively have led to this lead. Deep for Chad Johnson. Pass got there a bit late, and it gave Henry time to get back in coverage.
There's Anthony Henry making another play, but I'll tell you what, Henry got beat on that one at deep over there. Farad just short armed that one, didn't put enough underneath it. He slung it, but watch this. He's got Henry in his back pocket in a trail technique, and Henry does a terrible job. He gets the separation there, Henry does, but he got beat on the play.
2nd down and 10. TJ Houshmandzadeh back into the game. He's flanked at the bottom of your screen. Farad hands off to Dillon. Trying to pop outside. There's that stiff arm. I think he's probably one of the best at that in the modern era. Dalen McCutcheon, the right corner, felt that stiff arm that time. There you see the numbers for Corey. He's going to get his 100. In total yards, he's already got it.
Well, that's a departure from the trend on the numbers that we talked about in the last 6 meetings, where when he eclipses the century mark, they're 2-0.
Yeah. And 0-4 when he doesn't. 3rd down and 4.
Going a 2-deep zone for Cleveland, looking for pass.
Farad swings it out to Corey Dillon, and he's got the 1st down. They're going to rule him out of bounds at the 33. I'll tell you, on that play, TJ Houshmandzadeh threw the arms in the air as if to say, I'm here. Why aren't you looking my way?
And whether or not he was the guy to go to out of that T-cup formation or not is really irrelevant. What it shows is the frustration on the part of the receivers and the lack of continuity with their quarterback.
I think they're so accustomed to it, Spencer. It's not that these guys are necessarily bad guys or have problems with one another. It's just
playmaking.
Yeah, they're constantly frustrated because they can't find a cohesiveness within their offense. Again, Dillon, the safety valve, out past the 35 to the 37-yard line.
Boy, Dillon, when he decides to get vertical north and south, he really lowers that shoulder. Not a lot of wiggle in his hip. He just ran and got plus yardage there. Tremendous job by number 28, Corey Dillon. You talk about a collision. Low man wins this battle. Corey, because of his size and speed, wasn't the low man, and he almost still won the battle.
Delivering the blow to Brant Boyer.
And that's a linebacker he's given up about 15, 20 pounds to.
2nd and 5. There's the out pattern to Chad Johnson, and they're going to rule it complete at the 49-yard line, right in front of Fuller, who was there in coverage. Well, this Cleveland secondary now allowing some room in the passing game. Easily had both feet in bounds. Farad over the middle, incomplete. Again, an open receiver. The pass airmailed, intended for Dugans. Robert Griffith there with the coverage.
See, Dugans is another one of those guys that comes from Florida State, a playmaker while he was there. He doesn't get many opportunities, but when he does, he's got to be able to convert and catch that play.
Well, he was in the shadow of Peter Warrick in college, and now here he is in Cincinnati. Both of them taken very early for obvious reasons because of the speed, and everyone wants a deep ball threat. Houshmandzadeh breaks one tackle and forges ahead to the 45 of Cleveland. See, I think you've got to get the ball in his hands more often.
And look, we're not splitting hairs on that, but that particular play there is a case in point where if you put it on his front shoulder, he has a chance to turn it and dip upfield as opposed to correcting and allowing the defender to close on him. Farad just a little bit off on that pass.
Here goes Dillon right up the gap. Inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. Rudy Johnson, I beg your pardon, rather than Dillon. They run so similarly, as I mentioned. Corey had just taken himself out of the game. Still in the hurry-up offense. There's Houtsmanzada again underneath, down to the 30-yard line. 3 yards shy of a first down.
Cincinnati can forget about getting anything deep because, you know, they're down right now 20 points. You're going to get cover 2 deep safeties, maybe a little cover 3, waiting and expecting the pass.
Now Dillon back into the game for Johnson. Very close to the first down, and we've got a late marker. It's going to go against the Browns.
Face mask, 96, defense, 5 yards only. First down.
Bernard Lane. Boy, look at the job New England has done on the Jets today. At some point, New England is going to be favored.
Well, I'll tell you, Tim, I said it last time. If we had predicted that New England would win the Super Bowl without Drew Bledsoe at the beginning of last season, you thought we was crazy. There is no coach that does more with less than Belichick.
Rodney Pete's about to be 2-0 as a starter in Carolina. Farrat, touchdown. Right into the hands of Chad Johnson. And just like that, in front of Lewis Sanders, the Bengals have carved into the lead. It's 20-6. Boy, he really beat Sanders, did Chad Johnson. And that's what Peter Warrick and others told us they'd like to see more of. But again, Cleveland was giving up the inside portion of the field, but that was a clear breakdown, and the coverage was very, very soft.
Yeah, and I was surprised, too, because Cleveland's corners like to play aggressive. In that particular case, they didn't use the field to their advantage. It's reduced field, and they still let a receiver come underneath for a big play.
Rackers with the extra point. And that's the first score of any kind by the Bengals here at this stadium in 8 quarters of play.
Boom, 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 boom.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy. And by the flame-broiled Whopper from Burger King, America's favorite burger. At BK, you've got it.
Hard to believe it's been 31 years since Jim Brown was enshrined into the National Football League Hall of Fame.
No doubt Corey Dillon, who you referred to a minute ago, learned some of those stiff arm techniques from that last guy there. He was one of the best at it.
Corey's also mentioned many times Walter Payton. That was a nice idea, a little pooch kick. It would have been a live ball covered by Andre Davis at the 20-yard line. The Browns will have it. Thursday, September 26th on CBS. Every 30 seconds, someone disappears. You've read the stories of families torn apart. Now meet the team who can find the missing and bring them home. Without a Trace premieres Thursday, September 26th after CSI here on CBS.
Prior to that last touchdown, I was wondering if they could find Cincinnati's offense.
Well, softening that secondary helped Farrat and company in that last drive, but I tell you, the steady diet of running with either Rudy Johnson in the game or obviously Corey Dillon didn't hurt either. The problem is they used a lot of time. You see the clock showing only 6:26 left in the game.
See, now they're coming with some of that pressure they promised that would be indicative of the first in the early minutes of this game. Oliver Gibson doing a tremendous job there closing.
William Green backed up, lost a yard, maybe 2. Back to the 18. They'll actually give him a 3-yard loss. Second down and 13. Those short steps or crawling before you walk, walking before you run. The Bengals at least are on the board here for the first time in 7 quarters plus. Kevin Johnson in motion, single back. Jamel White. Little fade pattern that is caught.
Beautiful.
At the 43-yard line. Plenty of air underneath it for Holcomb as he finds Kevin Johnson. Case Maharn takes him out. That's the kind of touch that you really are looking for from your quarterback. We have a marker down.
It's touch and confidence. Watch him adjust. Johnson does a great job finding the ball, locating it cradling it in for the completion.
Wow, they're going to rule he was out of bounds, and he was. Second foot did not come down. There was no flag.
Oh.
Looked pretty close, didn't it? I think the first replay did illustrate, but it was a late overrule on the call. 3rd and 13. Holcomb under duress. Dumps it off to Jamel White. Look out. Those open gates swole beyond the 35 to the 37. You know, you mentioned those players a moment ago. The 3 that he watched in the offseason. I want to talk more about that. Take a look at this.
Well, see, this is the success. Every draw or every screen looks this way. It looks like all hell is breaking loose, and all of a sudden the back breaks out of it. When it's looking messy like that underneath, I can guarantee you 90% of the time it's going to be broken for a big play.
Jamel told us that he learned from Falk patience, from Priestholm's strong running, and from Garner, a grinder, and the element of chip blocking, become a more complete back. Boy, Holcomb really was racked up by Gibson that time. Just unloaded it. Intended for Campbell, the tight end. Incomplete. Gibson load in the last couple of plays. There you see the penetration coming in to get him. He has been very active.
You're talking about White's chip block. He had one on that last play. Offensive linemen love it when a back comes up and helps him out, sticks one wing in the rib of the defender.
White, stop, start, and deliver. Look at him cut to the outside. He did most of that on his own, bumped out by Burris.
Wow. I'm telling that kid has got some get up in it.
And he is much bigger and stronger this year than he was a season ago.
Watch the twinkle toe. Stands the guy up. That's Barry Sanders-esque there. Changing direction. I'd like to see him get a little bit more vertical there, but he does get to the outside. Great job. Look at the eyes. Making people miss underneath. He's got the only thing I don't see is, yeah, he switches that ball, puts it on the outside. That's a good job. Young, talented runner there.
3rd down and 4. Probably the only thing he didn't do was stay in bounds on that play. Holcomb over the middle and caught. At midfield, taken in by Andre Davis, who has certainly been worth the 2nd round pick that he was out of Virginia Tech. He has a touchdown catch already today. Holcomb got hit again.
Barry Stokes with a great block there to try to save the day. The last second there, that was Brian Simmons.
And a little bit late. That one could have been flagged, don't you think?
No question about it.
1st and 10 at midfield. Clock ticking, and that's the most important thing for the Browns. And again, Green met very quickly by Brian Simmons. And the Bengals, you know, are beginning to show some frustration. About to go 0-2. Their offense hasn't looked very good. The defense has had its moments. Timeout taken Cincinnati. So a little wolfing going on right now by these rivals from within the state boundary. Coming up next, the doubleheader action continues when Brian Greasy and the Broncos battle Terrell Owens and the Niners, while Drew Bledsoe leads the Bills against Randy Moss and the Vikings. Check your local listings. Others will see Houston and San Diego. For more, go to NFL.com. America Online, keyword.
About those Houston Texans upsetting the Cowboys, huh? They can lose the rest of their games as long as they beat the Dallas Cowboys in Texas.
What was that?
That's all that matters.
What was that? Deion Sanders interviewed his old boss, Jerry Jones, today on the NFL Today. I think he threw out 3 words: embarrassment, humiliation. Can't remember the third, but Jerry wouldn't go with humiliation. He would go with it. Somehow humiliation was just a word he wanted to stay away from.
There's a lot of Texas pride there, even though he's from Arkansas, though.
He and Jimmy Johnson were teammates on a national championship team.
Yes, they were.
For Frank Royals in 1964.
You know, Barry Switzer was also played on one of those Arkansas teams as well.
Well, I want to say Barry also played, and I think may have also done some coaching as an assistant in the early days as a GA at Arkansas. Couch looking on. That's going to be the postscript of this game as the Browns keep on keeping on without Tim Couch. There was a news report earlier today, timeout taken again by Cincinnati. Their second. News report today in the Cleveland Plain Dealer that Elvis Gerbach, who's now retired, has moved his family back home, that his agent would be interested in speaking with Carmen Policy and the Browns. I believe there has been contact. Now the debate is whether Carmen initiated the contact or the agent that represents Elvis Gerbach. But in truth, because he's a local product, that's always going to be news. Kelly Holcomb does become a leader of this team, and Couch can't get his job back. Think of the value that Tim Couch, in a hypothetical situation, might have in the open market.
Yeah. Counter to that would be quarterbacks, starting or otherwise, that are capable of coming in and performing. Are such hard commodities to come by. Could they do it? But, you know, I have to say, qualify that statement by saying, after talking with Butch Davis, he really feels comfortable with Holcomb at quarterback.
Tim Couch earmarked for success, but even Chris Palmer, who coached this team when they first came back to Cleveland, admits readily that he probably made a mistake in not allowing Tim Couch to get under center immediately. Holcomb looking long. Incomplete. Intended for Quincy Morgan. Kevin Case-Maharan back there to cover. Couch set all kinds of records in high school.
You know, even this was incomplete. I like Couch's patience here. I mean, the guy's getting bounced around back there. His receiver does a great job of pushing off. Probably should have been an offensive penalty there. Great job. Holcomb showed he could take the pressure. Hung in there.
Gardaki's punt, angling for the sidelines, inside the 10, and down at the 1.
Wow.
How about that? 49 yards and very effective. Tonight on 60 Minutes, peacekeepers patrolling the streets are the easy part. The tough part is putting Afghanistan back together. See for yourself tonight on 60 Minutes. Then catch Becker on a new night, followed by the CBS Sunday movie Message in a Bottle, starring Kevin Costner. All here on CBS. And the Pound is going to have some fun here. Down at the 1-yard line. Remaining. Farrat in trouble. Incomplete. And he rushed that pass. Thrown behind Chad Johnson.
You know, Cincinnati's in a really precarious situation, not just for the obvious reasons. Certainly they're backed up near their own end line. But Cleveland has chosen to rush 4 still. They're not dropping back with just 3 rushers and dropping back with the remainder of them in secondary coverage. So they're planning on getting to the quarterback some way. So they're not pulling back the reins whatsoever for the Cleveland defense.
Long day for Dick LeBeau. The Bengals quarterback controversy could be a bit different than that of Cleveland's. Farrat has really had a difficult day. Even that pass was thrown just a bit behind Ron Dugan's.
And he's had a tough time today. One was thrown on his back hip. That one he slipped trying to make a play.
3rd down. We'll call it 7. The 2 interceptions were huge, particularly the one at the end of the first half when he went to the left hand. Pump fake in the pass underneath, taken by Dillon, and Corey does have the first down. He's out to the 18-yard line. So far, that's really been the only pass that we've seen Farrat comfortable with, throwing underneath.
Yeah, that's a testament to the coverage capability of the Cleveland cover corners. That's a testament to their skills. They're outstanding athletes.
Crossing pattern, complete to Hutchinson. Very fast is TJ. They're headed towards the 2-minute warning at 2:06 and counting. And we're at it. Bengals have the ball, trailing by 13 here in Cleveland.
Hey, America, I'm the new 99-cent BK value menu. You guys like bacon cheeseburgers?
Sure do.
3.
The story in this game may be Kelly Holcomb keeping his head and Dwayne Rudd keeping his helmet on during the course of the game. What do you think the columnists in Cleveland will be writing about the quarterback situation here tomorrow?
I know it's all going to be positive, at least from Holcomb's standpoint. He's been outstanding today, showed poise, threw the requisite throws, deep with accuracy, short with touch, doing everything a quarterback that's a starter should.
Farrat finds Houshmandzadeh, and TJ has it beyond the 45 to the 46 game. I guess he just needed some time on the cycle in the first half because he's been pretty active in the second half, Houshmandzadeh. In the hurry up, out to Dillon. Corey Dillon stopped at the 43-yard line, clock ticking.
Well, Cleveland's conceding that underneath stuff, so you're going to find some holes there in that Cleveland defense. But, you know, there's nothing really that precludes them from doing this early in the game as well. That's the thing that really blows my mind. They had an opportunity to do it.
Again, TJ Houshmandzadeh. Hammered at the 28-yard line, a quality hit.
And Houshmandzadeh did a tremendous job of turning Brian Boyer around. You know, he's not the most nimble guy. He's what I call a plugger. He's a guy that's not as mobile, a run stopper. And Houshmandzadeh took advantage of that.
He has 5 catches for 59 yards, all in the second half. Boy, Robert Griffith really laid the leather to him as well. They're still talking about it. It hasn't stopped. And a flag comes down. Now, this has been going on for some time. And I believe TJ Houshmandzadeh is going to be whistled. Yeah, he did. He took the helmet off. And that'll be 15 yards.
Well, apparently it's contagious.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 84, offense, removing his helmet, 15-yard penalty.
Robert Griffith forced that. Well, Dwayne Rudd can have his off for now. It's legal as long as you're there. But Robert Griffith baited him into that penalty.
Here's another look at what happened, and I still say this: Houshmandzadeh, no one controlled him and made him take his helmet off. He took it off on his own accord, and it cost him. Rule 15, Section 6, 1E. Helmet on all times on the field.
Farrat, that one's lost. Deflected while it was in the. He was not in a throwing motion. The ball was back there and it was deflected away. I think it should have been ruled a fumble, inaccurately so. Second forced fumble by Mark Wood. There was a similar play last night in college football. The Georgia player actually took it out of the quarterback's hands in the end zone for a touchdown. Very similar.
Well, clearly his arm was not going forward, in my opinion. I saw it. I don't think it was a fumble.
Third down, and we're going to wind the clock.
By the way, Corey Dillon on the day, 108 yards on the ground, 67 in receiving yards for a 175 total.
So if you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan and you're, I guess, beholden by numbers, what do you take away from that? You say, hey, look, we got you your century mark and we still lost. This on the heels of Dick LeBeau emphatically stating that his team is going to come out with a certain energy level, a renewed sense of purpose. He alluded to the aberration which was in the open. And they've laid an egg again, essentially, with the exception of the one score.
I go back to our conversation with Peter Warrick from an offensive point of view, and even in talking with Bob Rutkowski, the offensive coordinator, there was a willingness to look deep, stretch Cleveland, and be successful at doing so. And then Peter indicated to us that you hear that early in the week, and then come game time, things change. Well, this particular occasion, Peter Warrick was prophetic.
Yep. Well, he said it, and it's something that's been kind of like a reoccurring theme with this team. They talk about the potential that they have, and no one can argue with the number 1 and 2 draft picks that they have at the wideout slot, but they just won't stick with it.
Third down and 34. Farad is flushed, and he's sacked back at the 35. Second sack for Mark Word. Playing for Courtney Brown, I'd say he's come up with a 7 and 11, and Butch Davis is pretty happy and upset with him too. He took his helmet off after he had the sack. I think he thought he was at the sideline and he could take it off.
Well, Butch is going to be livid behind this.
Yep. At first I thought he was congratulating him. Then I noticed he had taken the helmet off.
Oh, he is livid. Well, I guess the question is he off the field to play when it happens? But irrespective, you got to.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he went
coming off.
Yeah. But he did it at the sideline, so he felt he was okay. But guess what? There's still a fourth down play, and you just don't want to.
Don't push it, man.
Don't push it. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Tony Petiti. Coordinating director is Larry Cavallina. Today's game was produced by Ross Schneiderman. Wonderful working with Ross, and directed by Andy Goldberg. The senior producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann, and the director Bob Matsmatina. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. Associate director of today's game, Tony DeSanti, and the broadcast associate, Jason Headings. Technical manager, Steve Porsche. Great work, fellas. And that long pass is finally hauled in by a Brown. An interception by Robert Griffith. He'd been talking some smack, and now he comes away with a pick. Great work by our crew, by the way, in the rain and in the elements today. Well, Dwayne Rudd kept the helmet on when necessary and off when on the sideline. And you see Butch Davis still talking with Word about that. As excited as you are.
But see, here, that's the difference with him. He's cajoling him a little bit, but he's also encouraging.
Tough love.
Absolutely.
No tough love.
And look at the grin on the face of Rudd there.
See, this is a very young team, too. Made up of a lot of players that Butch either coached in college or were playing in college while Butch was still a college coach. I think he likes the rah-rah, and so does the dog pound.
Well, they appreciate him, and he's got a great pool of talent to work with, Timmy. He's a perfect coach for this organization.
And Kelly Holcomb will be the story tomorrow in the postscript of this game. The Browns win it. For Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando saying so long for Cleveland. Our final score, the Browns 20, the Bengals 7. Coming up next on CBS, doubleheader action continues as the Broncos battle the 49ers. And Drew Bledsoe and the Bills take on Randy Moss and the Minnesota Vikings. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Houston and San Diego also available. You have been watching the NFL